broadcast network, Afterbuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. Afterbuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Got a secret, can you keep it? Swear this one you save. Better lock it in your pocket, taking this one to the grave. And to show you that I know you won't tell what I said. 'Cause two can keep a secret if one of them is dead.
I remember.
That was pretty darn good, you guys.
I liked our choreography.
I'm feeling really good, like a good start to this season.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Afterbuzzers, and welcome back to our Pretty Little Liars after show. It's been a while. This was, of course, the season premiere of 6B, and lots of changes on the show. It's episode 11 of season 6, and it is now on Freeform, formally. ABC Family, starting today, their big
We don't know
launch.
what that means.
Yes.
But we know it's Freeform.
It just means it's a new name.
It's a new name for the new generation of becomers, is that's what they're saying.
Yes.
Exactly, and they
What
did
is a becomer?
Like someone who's socially active.
Freeform, like when I think about Freeform, like I remember just thinking about all these kids running through a field of daisies.
Well, think about that. That sounds
that
perfect.
could be perfect for your
Is that like
explanation.
what they're going
Exactly.
for?
No, but that's okay.
You know what? It's all right. It's our own interpretation. It's Freeform, and the episode tonight is Of Late, I Think of Rosewood, and the girls are back in Rosewood. Before we get into this episode with so many changes, there's so much to talk about, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Stephanie Wenger, and you can find me on Twitter at Stephanie Wenger.
I'm Kristin Strange, and you can find me on Twitter at Kristin_Strange.
I'm Hanna Prichard, and you all can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at The Hotshot Dude.
Hey guys, I'm Heather Joy Smith, and you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Heather Joy Smith.
I'm so excited to have everyone back on the panel.
I'm so excited today. I got ready so early.
And I was just excited to see what was going to happen on the show tonight, as well as in addition to seeing you girls, that this is like one of those shows where it's been talked about for so many months, I feel like, that this big change was going to happen 5 years later. And you know what? It kind of lived up to it for me.
Oh, yeah.
What did you guys think?
I agree.
Absolutely. I really liked seeing the girls' new fashion and what they were wearing and kind of their different looks. We got a little sneak peek of it back in October or November, but it was nice to see them in their new element.
Yeah, and I feel like it was more relatable for me.
Yeah.
Because they're closer to my age now,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, I forget high school. That was so long ago.
Watching them sit around with cocktails, it
I
seemed
know.
very like a mature, edgy Sex in the City vibe in that moment. I was like, yeah, that's right. That's
We
good.
all talked about we gotta go hang out now at the Rosewood.
right.
It's very relatable now, I feel like.
Exactly, and I think that that's with the launch of Freeform, what they're trying to do is have the programming be for 20-somethings. They don't want it to have that ABC Family label anymore, and I felt like this is the first day of Freeform, and this program really felt like that to me. But I love that the friendships remained on the show.
Absolutely.
That the girls were still united. I was afraid that there was going to be some sort of friction between one or more of them, and it was
There might be.
I was just gonna say, it looks like there's gonna be, but for now they're okay.
We can get into, I think Kristin and I looked at each other at one point and we were like, oh, is that happening right there? And so we'll get into that couple drama in a few minutes here. But I kind of want to break down all the characters and see kind of where they're at and what's going on. So let's talk about Alison, because she's kind of the reason they're all back in Rosewood.
Yeah. Well, she's a teacher now.
That's weird.
English teacher,
It's
I guess.
so
I'm
weird.
like, if you didn't really go to high school, you probably should have picked another grade.
Right.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But maybe that's her way of getting to go to high school again.
I know, but you would think as a teacher you need to be relatable and be able to help their students. They come to class with come to you in class hey, my friends are all carpooling together and they didn't invite me.
Did you
I
go to your
can't
high school
help
teacher and
you.
ask that?
No, but I'm saying, like, you might. And, like, high school things happen. She wasn't there. She should have picked, like, first grade. She was there.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe she's trying to relive her
Yeah.
whole high school days because she wasn't there as being a high school teacher.
Really,
and
they
like,
just wanted to be able to bring it back to Rosewood High because they
that's
already had
exactly
that
what it is.
Agreed. It would have made more sense to me if Mona ended up being like a principal or
Right.
something.
She was
But
already a
Principal.
principal.
Whatever.
Or even Ezra coming back and somehow getting like a
Right.
second chance there.
Yeah, and then dating another student.
I kind of would have liked more
That was
if
not what I was aiming for, but
No.
sure.
I kind of would have liked more if Alison was like a guidance counselor instead.
Yeah, no, when you said Mona, I was
Yes.
like, if Mona was a guidance counselor, that would have made more sense to me.
Yeah.
As much sense as it doesn't
Mona's
make.
crazy.
But
I don't know, yeah, and it was interesting that she was the one who, it shows that she still has control over the girls, that she was able to get them all, like they have these big lives they're all living, and they all return to Rosewood because she asked them to kind of have a witness testimony to have Charlotte released.
Right. I loved how when she's talking to Charlotte at Radley, Charlotte is like, do you think they're still afraid of me? Do you think they're still mad at me? Like, what do you think, dude? You're
Right.
trying to, like, kill them and blackmail them for years. Of course they're still mad at you. No, they don't want you out, you fool. But whatever,
It's
that
kind
was
of
my
crazy
thought.
to me too that there was 4 days that she gave them to get their butts back to Rosewood, and all of them were like, okay, let's go, like hop on a plane from California to Pennsylvania.
I know,
Like,
I'm pretty
come
sure
on.
you have to give more notice than that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Normally you do.
That is one thing that bothers me, but that always bothers me about time jumps when they start out coming from high school and then it jumps to them like right as they're ending college or their year after. And characters are always like so successful. I'm like, it is not like that.
No,
Everybody is
I
struggling
know.
so hard at that
Yeah.
age. It's not right.
I'm like, wait, I've been out of college for 3 years now, and I cannot afford to hop on a plane. Like,
No.
I'm like, let me save this whole entire year so I can go on a plane next
Exactly.
year.
Even when like people are like a few months from now, you want to go here? I'm like, no, there's
I
no
won't
way
eat.
I can
I don't
afford
have to
that.
eat. I don't have to pay my electricity. I just won't live without.
Yeah.
Kristin and I today were planning our vacation for June. That's
Yeah.
how far we have to plan.
To Vegas,
To
which
Vegas,
is cheap.
which is like $99. Come on.
No, but you have to accept that it's Pretty Little Liars world,
Yeah.
and that's
Right.
that's where they are. But yeah,
Plus, they're all working in their industry, except for Emily, but I don't think she graduated. But everybody that has a college degree, it's like, oh yeah, I graduated and I just got this job in Washington. It was great. Oh yeah, I graduated and I just got this job working for a publisher. Fantastic. Like, no.
I thought I heard Emily say somewhere like, yeah, I graduated, but it took me a little longer. And I wasn't sure if she was lying.
She's lying.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought she was lying because I thought in the special that they said that she didn't graduate.
Yeah, because she asked her how was the whatever place, and she's like, oh, it's great. Oh, we're not doing tours. to,
Right,
like,
I
hide
thought she
it.
was
Yeah.
lying about that too.
I want to know what like pills and everything she's taking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
she had to
also,
hide
did
them?
anybody else find it really funny that when she's like bartending at the bar at the beginning, when she gets her tip, she just sticks it straight into her purse?
I was
I'm
like,
like,
that's not how it works.
you just pocketing that, girl? I think that's stealing. I'm not sure though.
yeah.
She's like, let me smush this in my open bag with
Yeah.
all this cash.
I don't think it works that way.
No.
It was definitely a unique turn on, you're like, oh, okay. But I thought it was interesting that you kind of saw the various ways that these girls are still, they are affected by what happened to them in high school.
Yeah.
It's not like any of them walked away and they're totally fine.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw, to jump into Aria's story a bit, that she has serious, I would call it PSD from
PTSD.
Yeah,
Sorry,
absolutely.
yes.
Yeah, she was bad.
Yeah, I liked actually listening to her talk about that. That was a really good like little monologue, I thought, for Lucy Hale. I thought she did a really good job of like evoking that feeling when she was talking about it. It was terrifying, actually.
Yeah.
I really wanted to meet the boyfriends,
Yeah.
which we didn't
I
get
wonder
to.
when we'll get to meet them.
I did too.
They're going to show up eventually.
And
Or
I still
if they're just going to disappear.
or that. But I also still want to know what happened with all the breakups. Like, what made everything happen. Like, I really more so wanted to know that tonight, which is stupid because
No, I
we had
did
to, like,
too.
jump into something. But I was like, hold up. Toby, Spencer, what's going on? Caleb, Hannah, need to know.
It seemed like Toby and Spencer's relationship is still fine. Like, he asked her out to dinner and she
That
said
was
yes.
weird.
And, like,
It's like they haven't talked, and then he
Yeah.
was like, hey, can I buy you dinner? But if someone says to me, hey, can I buy you dinner? I'm thinking it's a date. So that sounds like
Right.
a date. And I was like, this
and
is
then
weird.
the house thing, like,
And then she was like, hey, Toby.
Right. It was almost like she wanted the house to be built for her.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, okay, so maybe they ended on good terms. Maybe they broke up because she just left. Like, I need to know. These are like the loose ends that PLL needs to like.
Well, I did wonder when she was like, are you building the house like clearly for himself? It was almost like she had envisioned at some point, even in high school as a younger self, that she would be in that house with him.
Right. Yeah.
And I thought that was something that we need flashbacks on, or a little more explanation of why that was happening. And that was something that I actually felt that they did a great job on tonight, though, was we kind of got pushed into this 5 years later, and I still have questions and I want all those answers, but I kind of was like accepting of, okay, this is where they're at, and I think that was the point of this
I agree.
episode tonight was
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go.
Cece Red on the chat was just mentioning something, since we were just talking about when Spencer was with Toby. Yeah. She said the ex-boyfriend's club line was my favorite.
That was the greatest line. I loved it.
That was
so good.
4 things that I wrote down.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I also wrote down that Emily was mixing denim quite well. Who else thought so?
I didn't even notice.
No?
Which means she must have done it flawlessly.
She must have done it really well if I didn't notice.
Yeah. I was like, those are 2 different denims. But then when she was carrying that blue bag, I was like, that's ruining
too much.
it all.
I loved Aria's jacket that she wore and Hannah's dress with like the cream leather, like, I don't know, blocking on it. It was like,
I like that
so
too.
cute.
It was like a tweed.
Yeah. The outfits were so good.
I know.
I saw on Twitter tonight that somebody said that they didn't think it was a big enough change in the wardrobe, and I actually saw huge changes in the wardrobe.
I thought it was a big change. I don't think that my wardrobe has changed a whole lot in the past 5 years, except for like the staples are still staples.
I still wear stuff from 5 years ago.
I mean, none of my stuff would fit me, but I would probably.
But it was definitely more mature. I felt like it was definitely a more mature outfit.
Yeah. It was like their personalities just matured.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little more subdued. Like in high school, you're all about like, this is who I am and expressing it fully in your clothing. And I felt like this was like
professional.
Yeah, professional with like little glimmers of who they still were in high school.
I liked Hannah's skirt, the cream one. That was
so cute.
Yeah, and their makeup was a lot more dramatic. Yeah. Like, I felt like Emily had on a lot more makeup than she ever did in the past. She seemed a little bit more feminine and edgy in that sense.
And we talked about that on our special back in, I believe, November, was that how their wardrobe was going to change, and we had an interview with, I think, the wardrobe stylist and possibly the makeup artist as well. Yeah. I'd have to look back at our podcast. But speaking of that, actually, while you're on iTunes, rate, comment, let us know what you're thinking. Obviously, we love hearing from you, and we're live on the chat tonight, and you can always find us live on YouTube on Tuesday nights, as well as, on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. It's cataloged as well. So there's many places to find us, as well as Twitter and Instagram, all the places. It's good.
Big on the chat right now. Did Spencer and Caleb hook up? That's what everyone wants to know.
Yeah.
That's what everybody wants to know.
It's a little bit of a weird relationship.
That was weird. She was there, and then they awkwardly walked away from each other, and then turned, and then he's staying in her barn, and they work for the same company almost. And
I feel like they at least kissed.
Someone says that they think that they hooked up, like they slept together.
Well,
didn't want to use other words.
What's interesting is that I could see it either that it had happened a few years ago and there's still some awkwardness there, or that there's something about to happen. Yeah. It's on the cusp.
Or that it might be happening and they're just let's not tell anybody about this.
Or
because she probably didn't think she was going to come back to Rosewood.
Friends with benefits?
Maybe.
I'd be down for that.
People get lonely.
I feel like
Washington.
I feel like with their whole background, they can't do friends with benefits.
You're Xing that out?
I'm Xing that out because I feel like there's so much of an emotional connection that they've had and shared through the past experiences that there's no way they can just...
To me, that seems that they have better chances of being successful with friends.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But I think it's more than that.
Or
was more than that.
I hope that's something that plays out in the first few episodes of the season.
Me too.
Where we're going, because I know we definitely looked at each other at one point. Yeah. And we're like, what is going on here?
Something weird.
And I wrote down weird. That was
right.
Or maybe it's that they just know a secret that the rest of them don't know. Maybe they've already had an encounter with somebody else who may be involved, or in the past with A and everything, and that's something they don't want to tell the rest of the girls, and they've like bonded over that. Just a possibility, just throwing that out there.
Maybe.
What else
that's
do you
actually
Definitely
good.
think that it was some hooking up, though.
That's a good. All right. I'll say either way is a possibility. But what do we think about Spencer's new career path? That she is working for a lobbyist, and her mom is running for.
I like that her mom's running for Senate.
Yeah,
she's like she was always one of my favorite characters, and I mean I'm surprised she hasn't divorced her father, but he seems to be coming in handy with the campaign. So political marriages.
Nah, it sounds like they're gonna get divorced. Something about that conversation, I was like, seems like they're on the rocks. Great.
Well, I feel like they've been on the rocks for
Forever.
the past 10 years now.
Right?
Maybe that's just their relationship. That's just how they do things.
Keep it at a distance now.
Oh, that makes me sad. I mean, I guess it's good that like they're figuring it out, but like I can't believe we're still on the I feel like still on the rocks. Like,
well, it's one of those things that I think it benefits them more to stay married than it does to get divorced.
Yes, maybe
so
that's what it is.
It's not like I don't know. They're on the rocks, but maybe they're just not. They're like we don't want to like. We have a marriage and we stay separate from each other, and like maybe they both get there. Yeah,
they do have the barn, so one of them can go sleep in the barn
they
eventually.
have like probably 6 bedrooms in that house. So
before we move on from Spencer and this like Toby situation and all of that, do we think that the relationship between Toby and Caleb will get better, or
well, not if he's sleeping with Spencer,
or will it all fall apart because of that? Is that something that's going to play out?
The band of ex-boyfriends.
I think it depends.
Apart.
If something is going on, it's obviously going to fall apart. But I kind of, they have the whole like bromance thing going on with all of them, so you never know.
I do wonder if the guys will get more screen time now with the jump. It feels like we saw a little bit more of the guys tonight.
I would really like to see them date other girls outside of the circle and bring them into it and see the way that the girls react to that.
There is a new character that's coming on, so maybe she'll be a girlfriend or boyfriend or something. Or just a girlfriend because she's a girl. I don't know why I said boyfriend.
We'd like to see more of Lorenzo.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. We like Lorenzo.
Mm-hmm. And let's jump into this Aria and Ezra, speaking of boyfriends. Love that her dad was like kind of the bearer of the news with that like he had moved back. He'd moved back to town, that his girlfriend Nicole is missing.
Was it girlfriend?
I don't know. That's what I wondered too. Was it girlfriend?
I kind of feel like they were together.
Yeah, that's what I kind of assumed.
Yeah,
at
you
this
assume
point.
it. I think.
I never I don't know. I was thinking maybe they're just close because he went there and like she was the only person he knew, and she's kind of the one who.
I feel like he went there for her almost.
You think?
Wait, but I thought we knew he was leaving.
We didn't know he was leaving, but she told him about it and kind of inspired him to go. And then he was on her trip, so she was the only person that he knew at first. Yeah. So it makes sense that they were fast friends and like the best friends because you're alone in a new world. But I don't know.
It just seemed like this was just like a personal interpretation, but I felt like he cared more about her than just like as a friend.
Yeah,
even as
I agree.
It was like it affected him in some profound way, but she's missing, presumably dead at this point. Is that what we all kind of got from that? And there was an attack where they were. Is that okay?
Yeah, she got, was it revolutionaries that he said took her away?
I think so.
Yeah.
So, do you all think then that that's going to be related to everything that's going on in Rosewood? Because to me, it has to be, or else they wouldn't have made it like an open-ended kind of, and she's just missing.
Really?
You know what I mean? It seems like something that we're going to continue to find out answers to.
Just something to kind of give Ezra's story more of understandability. Like, so we understand why he's so damaged.
His like PTSD now.
Right.
And Aria has hers, and I feel like they're both in deep, dark places right now, and I think that's going to intertwine in the storyline.
Right.
It also gave him a reason to come back to Rosewood. Otherwise, why did he come back?
Because we needed him back.
That moment,
I needed him back.
Personally, I needed him back, so thank you.
Yeah.
That moment when she walked into the brew and he was like descending the stairs, my heart stopped.
Yeah, I was like,
But and the way they just looked at each other and just kind of were like, here we are.
I know.
It was kind of nice.
It's like
she did like a
again.
sigh. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's good.
But I almost feel like if it was just an attempt to get him back in Rosewood, then why didn't we just like kill Nicole? You know what I mean? Like, why didn't we just
That's
know, like,
true.
a finalized thing instead of leaving it, like, I guess she's missing.
Maybe she was his girlfriend and they left her alive so that she could be saved and he could finally start things up with Aria again, just for her to come back and him to be like, oh my god, you've been through so much, I love you.
Well, that's a lot, but yes.
I
I was going to give a more briefer thing, but now I've completely lost it.
well, off of your idea, I think that that's always been Aria and Ezra's issue. Is it's not so much that she doesn't have a past. She's so young. I mean, now it's timing, and also it seems to be always like his mother. It's always his past that's kind of gotten in their way, and maybe now we're seeing the effects of what's happened to her, but before the jump, that was always what was kind of getting in their way. Was, oh, it was the old girlfriend, it's the brother, it's the mom, and it was always that, and like the money, all of these things that were from his past. So maybe now we're gonna see how her stuff affects, or maybe you're right that Nicole will come back in some way to Rosewood. I don't think we're done with the Nicole story at all. Like, I don't think it's gonna be a toss away, like, oh, we got him back now, that whole thing. Like, we're still gonna see how that affects him, I think, all season long.
Yeah, I think that issue's gonna continuously come up.
Yeah. So Hanna was married, or was engaged, which we knew, but that rock was big.
Oh, that was a nice little shiner she's got there.
Pear-shaped, too, which I was like, I don't think that I would like that, but I liked it on her.
I liked it on her. We got to see it a lot.
Yeah. That was, all of a sudden, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. It's so perfect for her, I felt like.
know.
It's so Hanna.
It is, and I liked kind of the evolution of Hanna and how she seems so chic now, and not that she wasn't before, but, you know, really embracing that fashion that we've always seen her love in that, and now kind of also coming back to Rosewood and seeing her mom have made it finally like a success of herself with this, is it a hotel
it's
and
hotel, restaurant, lounge?
Yeah. And that was interesting, but also I feel like that place is haunted. Yeah. So haunted.
I'm glad
so
her mom
creepy.
finally found good employment, though.
Yeah.
'Cause she was looking for so long, and now she's set.
Yeah.
And I felt really bad for her for a while. So.
I hope that it's haunted. I want some, like, seances or something.
Well, they did show very briefly that little surveillance camera, and when the girls were there.
That's true. Very true. And it really, though, kind of was like, ooh, are we gonna go American Horror Story Hotel with this? Like, how dark and twisty are we gonna get here?
Did anybody else not feel that way when, like,
totally
Sarah
did.
came in at the very, like, which we'll get to, but I just felt like I was like, Lady Gaga, American Horror Story, here she comes. I don't know, that's where I went.
Yeah, let's talk about them all getting on the witness stand, and a lot of them decided to actually protect or allow Charlotte to get a second chance, and I thought that was really interesting because
I bet it was because they don't live there, so they're like, whatever, we're just gonna fly away, anyways.
Well, not thinking that they're gonna have to be stuck there now.
Yeah, and well, also that like sense of moving on, like by keeping her in there, it's like continuing to hold on to all of it, and I'm sure they all just like wanted to let go, so just let her out. Doesn't pertain to our life anymore, shouldn't if we don't allow it to, kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, but I like that they did bring up the point, like, they went on the stand thinking, okay, we're going to lie, and they're still going to keep her in there.
Yeah.
Thinking she's so crazy, they have to keep her in. There's no way they could let her out. Yeah. And yet they let her out.
Well, I mean, it's again the dysfunction that we've seen in the judicial system and the police department in Rosewood. It's deeply messed up in that way, because who would release this person who had tortured these women for years?
That would be like life sentence.
I
really wanted Ezra to say something since he showed up. I was like, oh yeah, Ezra, get in there.
Did you guys notice though
he and Aria were gone?
Yeah,
I noticed that. I thought it was
after
weird.
And I was like,
that's true.
What was that her imagination? But then she was gone. I don't know.
And unfortunately, I lost the comment, but somebody wrote, "Did Aria and Ezra hook up on here?"
We'll find out.
Yeah,
I think that they did.
I think that they did too.
I hope they did.
I do too.
In game, guys. In game.
Right.
Always, Heather and I always end game. Always. Yeah, and then I thought it was interesting. I wondered if Aria was going to say what she did if Ezra hadn't walked in the room. It seemed like that changed the
Right.
Yeah, I think it
dynamic for
definitely
her.
changed.
If she felt like safe to say these things, and that was really interesting as to, I don't know, it made me curious what had happened in the last 5 years with them, that he was somebody who made her feel safe enough to admit all of this in court.
Right.
Yeah.
Still have a lot of questions. I need a lot of flashbacks. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
we definitely do.
I wonder if we're going to get flashbacks or if they're just going to rely on, like, saying it. You know what I mean? Like, catching each other up.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we get a flashback next week into kind of what happened last night when.
Oh, right.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting though. Are any of the other girls? I wonder if they'll change their story at all, or like how that's gonna affect it now that Charlotte is deceased. We can assume we haven't seen the
Right.
body, so I feel weird.
Wait, we did.
We
Oh,
did.
we
Yeah.
did.
Coffin.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's right. So she's deceased, and now we have the return of Sarah, which was the creepiest moment of this episode.
So creepy.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
And I just wondered, like, how that's going to play out for the girls, and, like, because obviously she doesn't bring back positive memories for them. It's all in that dollhouse.
Right, but did I like miss something? Because
No,
I
we
don't.
were all talking about that. I
Yeah.
don't remember.
I don't know what they did to Sarah, like those 4 girls personally did to Sarah, for them to like feel like they did something wrong to her or be afraid of her, because my memory is she was victimized just the same way that they were.
I thought that she was involved.
And like some people in the chat roll, clear this up for
Help
us, because
us.
like I don't know why I do not remember this, and like should have gone back and watched the last episode again, but like I don't remember Sarah doing anything. You know what I
I'm
mean?
gonna
in
have
that
to go
last-
back and double check. I just remember, I think it's more about they experienced all of this together and she brings back all of that. But correct me if I'm wrong, if there's something that I'm missing with Sarah, that there was some
I remember
animosity
Emily
there.
punched her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But usually you're not afraid of someone after you punch them. I don't know if they ever punched
Right.
anybody before, but
They all seemed like terrified of her though.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I remember why they
I mean,
would
I
feel
think she was
terrified of her.
in. Somebody said she was in jail at one point, so I think I do remember that in the final
Yeah.
episode. So maybe it's just there's something there. I wish I could remember exactly. We'll keep looking on the chat, but
Did it not seem like she may be somebody like famous too? The way that she had like a bodyguard person
Yeah,
and was
who
like
was that
escorted
guy?
back into like a limo.
No one else knows what they did to her either, so we're all lost on that.
Do you think something then happened within the past 5 years?
Yeah,
and we don't know.
we didn't notice. I don't know, or we didn't. Yeah, we haven't heard yet.
I'm gonna go back and rewatch that ending
Yeah.
and make sure I'm not missing something, because I felt like there was more to it, and unfortunately, as we've said before, we come right in here after we watch. So I do want to talk about Hanna and Caleb a little bit, because I don't think we really discussed them and that part of that relationship. But what did you think? Awkward?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kept waiting for Hannah to like rip off her engagement ring, like throw it in her pocket or something, like do something.
Or be like, hey.
Yeah, like one or the other. I was waiting for like either her to like flash it or like put her hand in her pocket, like totally hide it.
She was very short with him.
very short, and it was just kind of like out there, but not like obvious, and
Right.
it was just so awkward.
I
the
feel
whole
like
thing.
I feel like they must have ended on some kind of bad terms to some degree. You know what I mean? For her to-
She says in that special, like, she was just traveling so much and she didn't put any effort into their relationship, so they had to kind of end it. But
And then she says like, or he says, one of the two of them says, "We're still friends, right?" And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, and like her asking why he didn't call, you know what I mean, before coming over, or like text her or something.
Yeah.
It was like, does he need to? Is there some, you know what I mean, like to prepare her for it or
Right.
something?
It felt like there was definite distance between
Yeah.
them at this point. That they, in comparison to all the other couples on the show, felt like to me that they haven't talked in the longest.
Yeah.
There's been no communication. Even though Ezra was in South America, it felt like she had kind of kept up with him in
Yeah.
some capacity, knew what was happening.
Well,
where,
I think he's under her publishing company,
right, okay.
so they obviously had some kind of communication there.
That's
Yeah.
very true.
And I want to know too, like, because Hanna and Caleb moved to New York together. Wasn't that like their plan to get a place together? And so I also want to know how his career path changed, because I thought he had some like computer job or computer engineering job or something in New York that he was
got
going
tired
to.
of it.
And now he's like moving over to politics in some capacity. Like, I just want to know
how that all happened, or is he like CIA? Like,
which is still I still thought he was going to be like a new A kind of thing, or working for A, which now my dreams are kind of crushed because I don't think that's happening, or it is, and that's why him and Spencer know something the rest of the girls don't.
I know this relates a little bit to predictions, and we will get there in a few minutes, but I do want to know, do you think that the camera that we see in the hotel is some capacity a new A, a new something after them, or is that just extra surveillance because it's Radley and they know it's
I feel
haunted?
like they wouldn't have showed it to us if it wasn't going to mean something later.
Yeah, I feel like it's maybe not there for A, but just as a way A could use to watch them. So it wasn't intentionally put there, but that ends up kind of being the purpose.
I kind of hope it's more so not that anybody's behind the camera, but more so for viewers to get an opportunity to see what's happening that we're not supposed to see. You know what I mean? Like how in the next episode they're supposed to be using the footage on that camera to show us, the viewers, what happened when some of those characters weren't on screen.
I wonder if they made the viewers A.
Do it.
That would be amazing.
We are A.
Woohoo! What about, I liked that in the preview for next week, it kind of felt like a whodunit to me.
Right.
Like, it was like, we know that Charlotte died. How did she die? Who did it? And it was like, I want to say Hanna was being questioned by the police, and then you had Aria definitely, like, you were missing at that point, like, how it all played out after the funeral, not after the funeral, when she was killed. And that to me is a really exciting thing, because I don't think we've seen that type of thing on Pretty Little Liars. Like, more of that style of, like, who did it and accusing everyone and how that's going to play out. And that was a really exciting new look. I mean, hopefully that'll be what happens next week.
So is that going to be, like, the full storyline from now on, is, like, figuring out who killed Charlotte? Is that kind of what they're leaning towards?
I heard that Aria ends up going back to Boston very quickly, so it's not like she's not going to stick around, and the girls obviously are going to question her, like, why did you go back so soon? Like,
I kind of like it. It makes it more like a procedural kind of show.
Someone does say that there wasn't someone watching them from the car after the funeral, which we did see.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I'm really interested to see what this force is that's still looking after them. It could be either way. I feel like with a camera and someone watching, it could be something positive, or more likely something negative. And Pretty Little Liars land, it's never really that positive.
I was gonna say, I don't think it's ever been positive, but it could be a different season.
Exactly. I was really happy, though, with 6B. When you have a time jump, you never know. We've seen other shows. I know One Tree Hill did it. There's been other teen shows that have done it, and kind of, you're not always happy with the results. Yeah. And this felt, like, at least for episode 1, really great to me.
Yeah,
it felt good, and it felt like normal, but like also different at the same time. Like, I didn't feel like I was abandoned as a viewer, you know?
Absolutely. No, that's I felt like it was the same group of women, but just 5 years later, and kind of we're getting to catch up, and as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, closer to my age, something that I can relate to a little bit more, which I appreciated. I really enjoyed. With that, I think we covered everybody, and want to jump into some news and gossip?
Yeah.
Afterbuzz TV News.
So Troyan today talked about that she feels like this episode, she is quoted as saying, it's basically a pilot for a new show. It's the same characters, the same world, but there will be a totally different context for them.
Totally dig it.
And do you agree? Or
I do.
I agree.
After seeing the first episode?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I felt like it was interesting because it was like women I knew, but still, it felt very different to have them, like, drinking alcohol openly and like at a bar. And also it wasn't like they were always hanging at the coffee shop. The new cool place to hang was clearly like the lounge. So it was fun to kind of get an update. But I'm excited to see where it goes. I feel like it's kind of opened a whole new world for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
At least it's gonna be fun.
And then, of course, I want to say Sasha got engaged in December. So exciting. To Hudson. Schaefer, and he's 26 years old, her longtime boyfriend. Check out her Instagram because there are some adorable photos from her proposal on there, and I was so excited to hear that. Cute. Yeah, in December. And then if you can't get enough Pretty Little Liars, the girls were all over the media today.
Yes.
They started their day at Good Morning America. They were on live with Kelly and Michael, The View, and also did, I believe, a live stream with BuzzFeed. So
That's awesome.
lots to check out if you want some group interviews with them, and just really fun. I mean, for the most part, you get a few reveals about tonight's episode, and just like always fun to see the whole cast together. I always love that. So
and Lucy Hale ate some crazy food this morning on Kelly and Michael. It was funny.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah, exactly. I think she did was it ants?
It was chocolate covered larva, and then grasshopper tacos.
No.
And the taco, she looked like she just kind of nibbled at it, but the larva, she like popped in and she's like, this tastes good.
No.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something I could do, but props to her. So
And she looked so cute. She was like totally rocking like a 5-year forward Aria outfit. It was so
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, so something to check out for sure. YouTube all of that when you're watching our show.
Yeah.
And go and
After our show.
After our show, the usual. Don't do them at once. That'll just be confusing. But after our show, check out all these other interviews for sure. And want to get into predictions?
Yes.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'm like over here really thinking about it.
Anyone want to jump in with one?
I will go.
Okay.
So I don't think that Ezra hooked up last night. I do think that Aria, well, we know that she snuck over there to see him. And so she's like, hey, where did you go after? I don't think anything happened, though. I wish it did, but I don't think anything happened yet. I think she just went over there to talk. Or maybe he like called her and he was drunk, or that's what could have happened. She called her and he was drunk, and so she came over to talk to him and like calm him down and everything. That's why I think she left. And then someone on the chat, I wish I could find who you were. Michael thinks that Dr. Rollins killed Charlotte, and Ezra will hook up, and Ezra's dark side will come out.
Ooh, I like it.
Good prediction, Michael.
And before I get into my predictions, I just want to say that our chat is absolutely correct. At the People's Choice Awards, Pretty Little Liars won, I think it was best favorite or
TV
or favorite cable drama. That's what it was.
Cable TV drama.
Cable TV drama. You got to get specific at the People's Choice Awards, but I was definitely remiss to not say that as well. So exciting! Congrats to them, obviously. And in terms of a prediction, it's hard. I think that Aria and Ezra, I'm going to say not done, and they're going to come together over, I think, having this PTSD situation in different ways. Obviously hers from high school and his from being in South America, and kind of reunite over kind of the struggles that they're having.
Yeah.
Dig it. I agree.
I'm definitely gonna go with Ezra are hooking back up again.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
I will be so happy. But yeah, like you said, they're definitely going to bond over both of them being in really dark places and coming together, and just kind of, I think their lives are just so parallel that for them not to have a relationship would just be weird to me, because they're both in the book publishing industry or whatever. They're both now back in Rosewood. Like, I just think it just has to happen. Like, it has to happen. So bye, Liam. It was nice.
Yeah.
Not knowing you.
We didn't meet you yet, but we don't want to.
I don't want to meet you. And I'm gonna go out and say that I think Spencer and Caleb had a little something a couple years ago, and something happened, and they've kept in contact, and I almost feel like that's gonna cause friction between her and Hanna when Hanna finds out that they've been keeping in contact.
Oh, definitely.
Because Hannah's not gonna, I mean, she didn't even go up there, like, to the hotel room, so I definitely think that's a no-no, and Spencer knows it.
I'm gonna go ahead and take my predictions and jump more to the whodunit sense of it.
Okay.
I want to go ahead and start pointing fingers at Lorenzo or Sarah Harvey.
I was thinking Lorenzo, too.
I was thinking Sarah Harvey, but Lorenzo would be pretty good.
Especially if he's still, like, hung up on Alison.
Maybe. Oh, yeah.
You know?
And I'm pretty sure that Alison's secretly dating Dr. Rollins. Right?
Yeah. Dr. Rollins,
He's way
I'm like,
too old
who
for
are
her.
you be, man?
But
Yeah, he is a little bit older. And I want to meet all the boyfriends. I want all the
Me
boyfriends
too.
to fly in now, since they're obviously going to stay in Rosewood longer. I'm ready for everybody to like jump on a plane and get there.
Yeah.
I want a big like group dinner. I want
yes.
all of them
Everyone.
sitting like
Dude, that'd be so
awkward.
good.
It'd be so awkward.
yeah, like at a party or a group dinner, all like together and just like forced to be in the same space. That's an epic episode, right?
I agree with that.
We'll see if that happens, but I'm excited for season 6B.
too. Me
too.
It's really off to a good start. So before we go, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with us. We'll be back all season, and let us know what you kind of want from our after show. We're always so excited to hear from you. You can, of course, give us comments on YouTube or find us on Twitter and Instagram at AfterBuzz.
Hashtag, what is it? Hashtag ABTVPLL.
Yes, and it's AfterBuzz TV, and I'm at Stephanie Wenger.
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Kristin_Strange.
And I'm on Instagram and Twitter at the Hotshot Dude.
I'm on Instagram and on Twitter at Heather Joy Smith.
See you all next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Afterbuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the Afterbuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterbuzZTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of Afterbuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.